Now doesn't this just scream fun gameplay? Oh, checking emails. Generic NPC with zero personality trying to sell me something. Crafting. Now this is how I imagined cutting down trees in a pirate simulator.
No! Not good! Stop! Not good!
How's it going? Welcome back to another great video with the majestic host who doesn't know what to do with his hands. Luckily, this is a one-man show, the Savior show, so you don't have to worry about any interns at this moment that gets grabbed by Savior, okay? It hasn't happened yet, so you can't cancel me yet, okay? Okay, so yes, I am actually pretty excited to be talking about Skull and Bones today, because finally this game is here. Finally, it has actually manifested itself into existence by the succubus demon overlords at Ubisoft. Yes, that's right. And, you know, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm still kind of early in my YouTube career, if you can call it that, and I've been very fortunate that some developers work with me, and, you know, I support games that are actually good, that the developers actually care about their games, not mega corporations that basically try and grab as much money as possible from the consumers. And I'm not saying that all Ubisoft games are bad, and, you know, I'm not here to lick the boots of Ubisoft, but at the same time, I don't want to piss them off for no reason, but I will be brutally honest with this Skull and Bones review. But I'll be honest, okay? And if they're gonna blacklist me and never work with me in the future because of this, then that just shows what kind of company they really are, but they should take criticism. But Ubisoft games for the last, I don't know, 10 years have pretty much all felt exactly the same. It doesn't matter if it's Assassin's Creed, it doesn't matter if it's a Far Cry game, it doesn't matter if it's a new IP like Skull and Bones. They just can't escape their corporate overlord identity. It's not about passionate developers working to create something unique and innovative at Ubisoft anymore, like it used to be, like when they created games like Beyond Good and Evil. Ubisoft today is about how much money they can take from modern day consumers, how much modern bloat they can fit into their games to, you know, show off to investors that, hey look, our game is massive. It's going to require the players to put in a massive amount of time, and there will be plenty of options along the way for microtransactions, so you'll be sure that there will be a small die-hard fan base of any game that they create that makes them a lot of money. It's not about the vision of creating art. You know, games in the last like 5 years, they've proven themselves that they can be high art just as much as movies or books, depending on the game. Like Dark Souls, I wouldn't say so much the cinematic gaming culture that we have today, like God of War, The Last of Us, etc. Good games, don't get me wrong, but they're a little bit confused. They're trying to be more movies than video games, but Ubisoft are stuck in this thinking that we can make AAA games and basically make them mobile games for PC console players, okay? To me, I absolutely hate any modern day game now, any AAA release that even resembles slightly a mobile game. The Ubisoft format is pretty much the mobile gaming format, but somehow cleverly disguised as a proper AAA release. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. I do love some of their games, their original games, like the original Assassin's Creed 2, and of course Black Flag was pretty good. And games like Beyond Good and Evil, they've had some amazing games, and they still do make some quality games, but most of them feel like regurgitated, you know, microwaved meals at this point. So today I am going to be giving you my quick Skull and Bones review, and yes, this is a Skull and Bones review of the early access, of course. I've been playing it for the last couple of days, and basically just my thoughts on this. I'm sure lots of other people will be posting Skull and Bones reviews very shortly, so I'm probably not going to be early with this one, even though it is an early access Skull and Bones review. But I just feel like I need to talk about this because it just sums up what modern day gaming has become, the AAA gaming space, even when it's a new IP, how they all feel so similar now. And I don't think this game is completely bad, so let me just say that. If you enjoy vehicle combat, if you like World of Tanks, for example, I think you might like this. And if you like the pirate aesthetic, there is something here for you. but this is not the Black Flag 2.0 that we all hoped for. It's not a pirate sandbox like Sea of Thieves, and even Sea of Thieves today is much better. I did a recent video essay on Sea of Thieves, an updated review, so go check it out. But honestly, that's much more of a pirate immersive sim than this, and it's a big problem. So this has been in development hell for a very long time, and it's actually been in development pretty much since Black Flag, which is even more crazy to think about, because they could have been making, an actual pirate open world new IP sandbox game in this time, but because it's jumped around so much and it's changed so many different creative ideas back and forth over the time it's been in development, so it wasn't really sure what type of game it wanted to be. So I will try and make this a concise and easy Skull of Bones review, and I'm going to give you my positives and negatives like I do with all of my early reviews, because that actually tells you something about the game and doesn't give you a BS subjective number, because that's not how the world works. Everyone's taste is different, and please humbly respect my opinion. And if you do enjoy video game content, early reviews, deep video essays on gaming content, and I also make philosophical videos around media and life, please do subscribe, become a wise one today. It only takes you 2 seconds, but that 2 seconds seriously means everything to me. We're getting so close to 10k. I'm just so passionate about this community. I really love interacting with you and seeing positive comments down below, and it just means everything. And I'm trying to put in a lot of effort with my videos, so please do subscribe if you like this, give it a like, and consider checking out my music on Spotify. Or if you want to support me further, drop a donation or check out my members only content. There's a whole playlist and I would appreciate it. But the best thing you can do is subscribe and check out my music, because that is just, you would be so awesome if you did that, so thank you. So the first negative, yes, I'm afraid we have to start off on a negative, and like I said, this game isn't all bad. I don't think it's completely unplayable or anything like that, and I'm sure there will be a dedicated fan base of this game going forwards. But I do just have to speak from my own perspective, of course, and looking at this as objective as possible. But obviously my own perspective will cloud things like anything. Please don't hold game reviews to such a high standard. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I do feel like most people will see it like this. And this is pretty much a glorified mobile game. And I think they did actually release an Assassin's Creed Black Flag mobile game a long time ago. I remember playing it on iPad and it was actually quite addictive. So you can have fun here, because that's pretty much what this game is. You can't leave your ship, okay? Well, you can, but only to interact with like boring NPCs. And yeah, like they feel like just lifeless zombies stuck in place, glued to one place, like you're in some kind of backwoods Disneyland ride.
No! Not good! Stop! Not good!
They feel like robots in Disneyland, but honestly, even the robots at Disneyland feel a little bit more lifelike than the NPCs in this. So you can walk around, you are in these hub areas, of course, but there's no real gameplay, is what I'm trying to say, when you're not on your ship. It's all on your ship, so there's no real freedom. You don't feel like a pirate, you don't feel like you're living this pirate life, because you can only do things on your ship. Everything else is just a marketplace for in-game currency and real currency. So that's pretty much the freedom that you have. So I was very disappointed in that, because they could have made this such a cool game, such a cool sandbox experience, a pirate simulator like Sea of Thieves tried to do, and I think it is actually succeeding at now with all of the updates. And it's just a shame, because there's nothing wrong with it just being a vehicle-focused game. If they really fleshed it out and they really made it feel like, okay, you are this pirate, or perhaps take out the whole pirate element of it and just be the ship. Don't be an individual player, control your crew, have more customization over your actual full crew, almost like an RTS to some degree. I just feel like they missed the opportunity here, because it doesn't really know what it's trying to be, and losing that freedom, having everything fade to black, these load screens, it feels very outdated. It doesn't feel smooth whatsoever. So that is the first negative, is the fact that there is no real freedom as a person in this world. Everything is a short cinematic, a short little animation, and fade to black whenever you're trying to interact with something. And yeah, it's pretty bad, I've got to be honest. But if you love vehicle-focused games, then there's still hope for you, because actually the combat here is pretty good. So the next positive is the multiplayer aspect. Yes, this can be fun if you're playing it in multiplayer, and of course with the early access, I was able to do that, and not with personal people I know, but it is fun, and I can see it being a good time, a good multiplayer experience. Although it would be cool if you could actually control the same ship as each other and work as a crew like Sea of Thieves. It's honestly showing... It's just so funny, like, modern day gaming, like, we always think, like, it can't get worse. It can't get worse than this. This was so bad on release. But then a new game comes out, and then it just shows, like, the new standards of AAA. Don't get me wrong, games have got a lot better, especially last year, and especially with AA, but still the big AAA studios seem to not learn from their mistakes, and they don't have the passion and creativity that they used to have. The next negative is microtransactions. Can you say microtransactions? Wow, good job. I'm a Ubisoft fanboy. Nothing wrong with paying to win, if that's how you want to use your money. I'm not here to judge you, okay? Everyone can use their money how they want. Luckily, so far from what I've seen, it hasn't completely broken the game, obviously, as it's early access. Who knows if this is really going to change actual, gameplay with Skull and Bones in the future, with people being overpowered and stuff like that. I don't think so. Mostly what I can see is cosmetics and stuff like that, but there's plenty of microtransaction bullshit in this, of course, expect that to be. The next negative I have to say is the fact that the mini-games on offer here are pretty terrible, okay? So you will be doing a lot of crafting, you will be doing a lot of resource gathering, and instead of, like jumping off your ship, of course, we have to forget that. It's not that type of game, and that's fair enough. We never expected it to be like that, but it would have been cool if they made it more interactable with your crew actually doing these things, instead of just these lazy mini games where it just feels like tacked on, to be honest. Like when you're cutting down trees, it's just very tedious. You got to line this thing up perfectly to get into the green mark, and it's just not very satisfying. Everything, like I said, is a cinematic, and just for crafting, it all feels very baked on. For progression as well is rather lackluster, because it's all just percentage increases mostly, so it doesn't feel that good.
No, not good. Stop. Not good.
Deciding where to put the cannons and stuff like that, that is what makes the game fun. And the fact that there's different classes of ships, so you can have like a big tanky beefy boy, or you can have like a smaller ship that's much faster, and this will aid you depending on what missions you're carrying out. If you're doing like a smuggle run or something like that, of course a smaller, faster ship will make you basically escape other players far better than a big ship. But then when you're taking down these sea monsters, which is super cool, then of course you need a tanky ship. So there is customization here that's positive, but then there is also this bullshit just surface level stuff, and that's what you're mostly doing. So the next negative, and I think this is going to be down to player preference, okay, but I was looking forward to Skull and Bones because Sea of Thieves, as much as I love it, it's a much more fantastical, magical world, okay, and I was hoping for a more realistic, actual gritty pirate game, and doing actual piratey stuff. But this feels more like a pirate aesthetic instead of a proper pirate game, because the cosmetics are just ridiculous. Everything's going to be gold plated, or maybe in the future like neon lights on your pirate ship. I can already see it. So it kind of ruins the immersion and the aesthetic of what they were going for. Also, it never feels like you have the freedom to be a pirate, really, because you're just going from one mission to the next. The next thing is a positive, okay, and that is the combat. So the combat here at times is very good because it is tactical, it is very visceral as well when you're blowing apart these ships, but it is still quite funny, like, boarding an enemy ship here, again, is just like a cinematic, but whereas in other games you actually jump off your ship, you actually get into hand-to-hand combat. Again, this would be far better if there was more strategy involved in, like, when you board a ship, then it goes into a whole separate minigame where you're actually like maybe doing turn-based combat with your crew. They just could have made this far more interesting than it actually is, because basically the main things that you will be doing is just combat on your ship, the different missions, hunting animals, which can be fun, you know, like spearfishing, these mini games, but it all feels very segmented. It's kind of like Starfield in a way, where there's so many little mini games, but none of them feel cohesive together, and it makes it feel very bloated.
Hey! Shorty kid!
Fire! Now!
Get to the side, my man! Ease off the wind! Rattling hooks away! Heads to the fire! Sei morto!
I also think it's a bit weird that ships can, you know, have like poison damage, and like these ships are somehow alive because they all have different effects and stuff like that. It just feels very arcadey, and that wasn't my imagination when I thought of a Skull and Bones, you know, pirate, open world, ship combat sim. That's kind of how I imagined that game to be, but actually it's a very arcadey, mobile, light. Yeah, I will try and be fair in this Skull and Bones review, because I don't want to say it's all bad. There is detail here. The graphics look shiny if you care about graphics. None of the characters are interesting. Nothing that they have to say is interesting. The writing is pretty bad. You won't get invested in the story here. This is going to be for people who want to play something fun with their friends. That's about it, okay? I've got to be honest. And for people who like time sinkers, where you can, you know, slowly progress. So, Savior, are you saying Skull and Bones sucks? Skull and Bones is bad? Is it the worst game ever? And I'm not saying that Skull and Bones sucks, okay? I do not think Skull and Bones is bad, but there are certainly many bad aspects to this game, and that's why I'm trying to be as brutally honest as possible in this Skull and Bones review. So some positives, like I said, the big boss battles, they can be fun when you're working as a co-op group, even though it is very bullet spongy. The sea monsters is super fun because it's nice to have variation and not just shoot at ships, and they kind of interact differently. The crafting and stuff can be fun at times when you're creating, you know, special recipes to give you buffs and stuff like that. With cooking, again, I am sorry if my voice sounds very croaky because I am still recovering from a cold, so smash that like button for Jimmy Beast and you might win a special maid robot that comes and milks you. I can't guarantee it, but it might happen if you subscribe. If it was lazy and not even challenging, then this game would just sink completely. But because the combat is rather tactical, there is a lot of customization. The customization is what keeps this game alive. And the fact that, you know, doing these different missions, they need to add way more missions, but the different missions do keep it somewhat from feeling boring, even though some aren't that good. But it's the combat that's really fun, and the fact that it is quite challenging. And the final negative, I would say, is the treasure hunts. I really loved the idea that Sea of Thieves, you know, ran with, where you find a treasure and you can literally take it anywhere and bury it yourself, like a real goddamn pirate. I know it was very bad on release, but honestly, that game has got a lot better. Of course, this doesn't have anything like that because it's a vehicle-focused game. So treasure hunts do feel a little bit, I don't know, just not as exciting as they could have. And at the end of the day, this is a Ubisoft game. It does have a lot of crap, a lot of markers to go to, check off. If you like that type of experience where you're clearing out a big open map, then you will like that because it is basically the same. And the ships, I wish they did feel a little bit more different. I wish you could really create your own unique build, not just have like these kind of presets of like a heavy style ship, a smaller ship. Really create your own diversity of ship. Then this game would be pretty cool if it was like a Lego building system. Almost, as much as I don't like Starfield because it kind of failed with everything that it did, But a nice comparison is for shipbuilding. That was one good thing about that game that I absolutely loved. If they took that idea and put it in Skull and Bones, where you create your own unique ships and everyone had their own crazy builds, and then you have this kind of more exciting mini games to engage with, then this game would be much better. But as it stands, it's rather milquetoast. It's not bad, it's not good, and you will like it if you want a co-op, fun, pirate-themed adventure to go through with a rather boring story, but enough that it's going to be fun to play with friends. If you're looking for a pirate immersive world to get lost in single player, I don't think this will be for you, unless if you absolutely love vehicle combat games like World of Tanks or something like that. So that is my Skull and Bones review, the review of Skull and Bones. Sorry I got this one out a little bit late, but I did want to actually give this a proper look, because I got criticized a few videos ago because I was kind of overlooking a certain game and basically just did my own playtesting on mods and stuff like that. So it's much better to take a full look at the release. So I do hope you enjoyed this one, and if you are new, make sure that you do subscribe. I would appreciate it a lot. I'm always trying to make better content and improve myself, so any feedback would be appreciated in the comments. And become a wise one and do subscribe. Check out my video essays, check out my video game retrospective content, because that's what I'm passionate about. When I'm really focused about a game like Elden Ring or Dark Souls, I create some good videos, deep dives on them. And if you like these quick early looks at reviews of newer games, then do subscribe, because I'm always on it day one. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.